you start to feel like that little skip in the tick in your heart, that could be a result of high blood pressure as well too. So those are just a few of the signs and symptoms. But remember, high blood pressure is just a symptom. It's not a cause. All right, it's not a cause. Let's get into why high blood pressure is so dangerous. All right. One of the number one risk factors with kidney disease. So if you're out there and you're having kidney problems, you want to really complicate your kidneys, high blood pressure will definitely do that. All right. Elevating your blood pressure will definitely damage your kidneys. Number two, eye problems. So when you start to see as I was saying, with some of the signs and symptoms, you can see blurred vision, double vision. High blood pressure will start to affect your vision as well too, putting pressure on that optic nerve. Okay. And again, remember this, when you got high blood pressure, it's not just in your arteries, you know, the way you think, like you're thinking the arteries in your heart. No, you got high blood pressure everywhere in your body. It's systemic. All right. So if it's in your eyes, it's in your kidneys. Okay. So the same way high blood pressure can cause issues with the kidneys, it can cause issues with the eyes as well too. Also, it's one of the leading causes of stroke. Okay. So high blood pressure is definitely an indication that if it gets too high, you can have a stroke. Aneurysm. Okay. Also sexual dysfunction as well too. So especially this shows up big time for the men out there who don't control or, you know, don't pay attention to their uncontrolled high blood pressure. Then you will end up with sexual dysfunction, because the issue with sexual dysfunction is a vascular issue. And when I say vascular, I mean all of those arteries that are sending blood to the genitals to get an erection. Okay. All right. If they become affected because this pressure that is inside of those blood vessels have damaged the endothelial layer or the blood vessel itself, no happy time. Okay. So hugely important you understand that, you know, high blood pressure isn't just high blood pressure. High blood pressure leads to things that could end your life. Okay. So let's get into some of these major causes. All right. Because quite often what happens is I would see people come into the hospital all the time and they get that diagnosis for the first time. You have high blood pressure. You need to do something about this. Maybe they had a mini stroke. Maybe they had a stroke. All right. And now they're going on medication. And the first thing they ask me is, do I have to take this medication for the rest of my life? And most doctors will say yes. And even I asked this question, you know, when I initially got diagnosed and they were trying to put me on medication. Hey, if I take it, do I have to take it for the rest of my life, or is it going to help me out to the point where it gets me back to how I was? No, you got to take this for the rest of your life. And for a lot of people, that's like having, you know, a small little funeral for your health. And so what I explain to people is just really, really important to understand that you got to get into a space where you understand how serious this is. It's super serious. It's always the minor things that create the major problems. All right. So let's get into it. The 7 major causes. 1, deficiencies. Okay. I'll give you 2 deficiencies. Magnesium. And I've talked about magnesium before. Magnesium is like the chill pill of the body. It causes the blood vessels to relax. Okay. And when you don't have magnesium, those blood vessels will stay contracted. When it's contracted, constricted, this is what increases blood pressure. All right. So that's one type of deficiency that you could have that could lead to high blood pressure, but there's multiple types. Okay. So deficiency could be a major cause. Okay. So the next time you go in to see your doctor and he tells you have a deficiency of this, and this, you really need to take those serious. Okay. Number 2, you're toxic. Okay. Toxicity mostly is often coming from your food. If you're eating the standard American diet. Okay. When I say standard, it means that if you don't have any standards for your food, the only standards you have is that it tastes good, then you're eating the standard American diet. Okay. And with that being said, if you're eating the standard American diet, that politicians have taken this and the food companies have dished out that to be able to make food very cheap, and to be able to make food very cheap, what you're doing is using less real food and using more chemicals. All right. That's what makes it cheap. It's not only cheap in its quality, but it's also cheap in terms of like how long it can last as well too, because of the chemicals that are being put in it. All right. And so if you're eating that type of food, you're going to be toxic. Okay. And that is going to elevate your blood pressure because that kind of food goes in you, but it doesn't come out very well. All right. So that food sits in your body, creating waste, rotting, fermenting. Okay. This is why most people have 10 to 25 pounds of undigested feces just rotting in their gut, creating toxins. All right. Also, toxins can be in the form of heavy metals. If you worked at certain kind of plants, I'll give you for instance, I know people who have worked at concrete plants, people who have worked at aluminum plants, people who have worked on farms and have gotten exposed to a lot of heavy metals. Those heavy metals will cause you to be toxic and elevate your blood pressure as well too. If you have a lot of mercury fillings, okay, mercury elevates your blood pressure as well too. Elevated blood glucose levels, so pre-diabetic or diabetic. This is a form of toxicity, by the way. Elevated levels of sugar, because if you eat real sugar, first of all, you can't overeat because it's attached to fiber. And fiber is going to cause you to feel full. So if you're overeating sugar, it's most likely because you're eating unnatural sugar that is not attached to real fiber, that is not in a whole food. All right. So that's why I'm saying when your blood sugar levels are elevated, it means you're toxic. Okay. So it's hugely important to understand you got to get this toxicity out of your diet, out of your body. I have a group detox coming up in September. If you have not did my group detox before, you definitely want to sign up for this one that's coming up in September. Inside of the group detox, you get a 30-day supply of my herbal full body detox. That's going to get rid of all those kind of waste, the heavy metals, the mucus, the inflammation, etc. But the good thing is you're not only going to get the detox, you're going to get access to an exclusive support group. You're going to get me inside of there, group coaching with you weekly. All right. You're also going to get recipes, a meal plan, and so much more. And you get the support of not only me, but 400 or 500 other people inside of there, like-minded people on the same journey. So if you're thinking to yourself, I'm toxic, I need to get my whole health together, I need to change these taste buds, I need to reclaim my health, sign up for my 30-day group detox that starts in September. It's available on the website, drbobbyprice.com. Make sure you get the 30-day group detox. Don't get the 28-day or the 14-day. Okay, I'll put the link in the description, drbobbyprice.com. So that's number 2. Number 3, elevated levels of cortisol. When your cortisol levels are elevated, this will also raise your blood pressure. Okay, and the reason why cortisol elevates your blood pressure is because it narrows and constricts your arteries, making your arteries smaller and smaller. And then when your levels of cortisol are elevated, it probably means that you're stressing. So that's going to elevate the amount of epinephrine in your body as well, too. This is going to increase your heart rate. So now you got blood vessels that are constricted, smaller than they should be, and you got a heart rate increased. Okay, that is that's like a recipe for high blood pressure. Okay, now let me tell you a few things that could elevate your cortisol levels. Okay, medications. All right, so medications like steroids, birth control pills can elevate your cortisol levels. Okay, so elevated levels of estrogen. So women out there who are suffering with issues like endometriosis, fibroids, who have elevated estrogen levels, this can elevate your cortisol levels. Circadian misalignment. Okay, so I've done videos where I talked about how I live in circadian rhythm. Circadian meaning the sun. So I try to eat with the sun, sleep with the sun. Okay, among other things. All right, and the reason why that's so important is because our bodies are in sync with the sun the same way nature is in sync with the sun. Okay, the same way when we get less sun, Then we start to get fall and even less sun, and we get winter, and then we get more sun, and then we get spring, and then we get even more sun, and then we get summer. And you notice how the environment outside changes. Okay, that's all due to the sun. All right. You don't think that our bodies are affected by it? Of course they are. If you rise with the sun, and you get visual contact with the sun, it signals to your body to release melatonin 12 hours later, which helps you sleep better. Okay. It also helps to control your cortisol levels as well, too.